Hello, hello! Welcome to Smoke and Mirrors podcast, the program where we try to reveal the darkest and deepest facts about life. This is Damian Drake, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about how bad habits can be harmful to our lives if we don't do something about it, and what we can do to improve our lifestyle in the future. I am honored to say that this time I have two special guests. Miss Callaway, good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Good evening, mister, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad to be here with you. And well, for some of you who don't have any clue about me, I have currently written a book called Healthy Plus Habits equals Healthier Life. And well, actually, it was nominated by the critics as one of the best healthy books ever written in the last decade.
And our second special guest on this episode, Dr. Patrick Third, one of the most distinguished neuroscientists in the world.
Good evening, thank you for inviting me to the program.
I am super excited to talk with you guys. There's so much to talk about bad habits, and I think the best way to start is with a sleeping habit. So how about you, Miss Callaway and Patrick? What can you tell me about bad sleeping habits?
Well, when we have bad sleeping habits, we could develop some disorders, such as insomnia or the shift work disorder. So let's talk about insomnia, which is characterized by the recurring difficulty to fall or remain asleep despite motivation. In addition, people with insomnia also experience excessive daytime sleepiness and other cognitive impairments while they are awake. On the other hand, we have the shift work disorder, which primarily affects people whose jobs require them to work late at night or early in the morning. So, sleeping during the day and working at night can cause misalignment between a person's body and the circadian rhythms that guide their sleep-wake schedule based on natural light and darkness cycles.
Yes, doctor, and I would like to add one disorder called sleep paralysis. This sleep paralysis is not really common, but there are people who have experienced this because of the lack of sleep. And this occurs during the sleep REM when your muscles are turned off, and this is because you are going to start dreaming. Yes, and during this time people wake up, but they are unable to move or speak for a few seconds when falling asleep or waking up.
Did you have this type of bad habit before? When you guys were younger?
Yes, Mr. Damian. I think that every of us had or have this bad habit. When I was 15 years old, I used to go to bed at 3 a.m. because I like to enjoy the night, but actually I had to get up early and I ended up sleeping 3 or 4 hours. Could you believe that? Can't you believe that? And guess what happened with my attention in my classes?
You were sluggish and distracted, isn't that right?
Exactly. But well, when I did not have to go to school, I got up at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. and that affected my eating routine. And that's not good, especially for teenagers and kids alike.
You remind me a lot of myself, miss. Back in my old school days, I tended to see so many movies on my dad's DVD when everybody was sleeping. I rented the movies in the nearest blockbuster I could find in my neighborhood. I liked to get some popcorn while watching some good classical films like Star Wars, Back to the Future, Bloodsport of course, and a movie is like 2 hours long. I used to watch 3 or 4 movies in a row. Sometimes I took a 30-minute lap during the whole day just to watch another movie marathon again. And what about you, Dr. Patrick? Did you have some kind of similar experience when you were a teen?
Well, when I was younger, I used to go to bed too late because I used to watch a lot of TV. I remember spending all night watching my favorite cartoons and series. I also dreamt of being a doctor, so I used to play with my toys pretending to be a real one. And now look, I'm a doctor.
As the expression says, if the shoe fits you, you must wear it, huh, Doc? And now that we are concerned that even us have experienced bad sleeping habits, what are the most common symptoms people with this type of bad habit can have, miss?
I can say that the most common symptoms are the difficulty falling asleep at night, waking up during the night, also not feeling well rested after a night's sleep, the irritability, depression or anxiety, but also the difficulty paying attention, focusing on tasks, or remembering. And actually, we could say that the lack of sleep increased errors or accidents because this usually make feel people fatigued.
I see, Miss Calloway. In fact, my 13-year-old son, for example, is getting bad marks due to the fact that he's pretty fond of playing video games with his buddies. He plays for 2 to 3 hours straight. The problem is not video games, obviously. The real problem is that he has a craving for playing video games after midnight. I tried to explain to him the consequences this can have if he doesn't stop doing it. I hope Mark is watching us right now. This question goes for you, Dr. Patrick. Is there a way to know exactly how much sleep we need to perform our daily tasks appropriately?
Yes, so, well, it depends on people's ages. Let me explain you. For newborns, it's recommended to sleep between 14 to 17 hours. For infants, between 12 to 16 hours. For toddlers, between 11 to 14 hours. For preschools, between 10 to 13 hours. For school ages, between 9 to 10 hours. For teenagers, between 8 to 10 hours. For adults, 7 or more hours per night. And for 65 years or older adults, between 7 to 8 hours.
Thank you, Doc. As we can see, each and one of us has a different time lapse to sleep. So to conclude today's episode, I would like to share with you some tips that have served me efficiently to improve my sleep in order to have better sleep habits. The first tip I want to share is that we have to make our brain associate our bed as a place to rest. We expect that going to sleep is like switching a light switch, that we should be able to fall asleep once we're lying on our bed. And my dear spectators, that's not true. When I had problems to sleep, I used to stay in bed for long periods of time until I managed to fall asleep. However, it could happen 1 or even 2 hours trying to do that. After knowing that our brain works as an associative device, I started to learn how to make my brain can know my bed is a trigger of wakefulness. By doing so, I started to have less problems with sleeping until there's not a current problem anymore. My advice is to not be in bed for constant periods of time. Disengage from your computer or cell phone. Do something more relaxing and only go to bed when we really feel sleepy. And with that we conclude the program. Thank you once again, Miss Calloway and Dr. Patrick. It has been an honor to have you with us today.
Okay, Mr. Damian, thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, I am really happy to be here, and that's it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Well, thank you very much to you, Mr. Drake, for the invitation and for this space tonight.
And thanks, spectators. See you in the next episode. Good night. And remember, sleep well.